Good morning, everybody. And we used to say at Vacation Bible School, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for the privilege of saying a few words to you this morning. It was in August the 1st, 1961, when the Cooks moved to Central City. It was myself, my wife, 3 children, and 1 parakeet. And oh, was it hot. It wasn't hot, it was very hot. I have served as your pastor for 14 years. About 3 different things I want to tell you this morning that happened while I was minister. The first one that happened was a paying off of the note on the educational building. Everyone was worried whether it'd ever be paid, but it was paid, and we had a great note burning ceremony. The second thing I want to say to you was the elevator. We needed that elevator, and because of Miss Dr. Walton and her leadership, the elevator was installed. The third thing I want to mention to you is the fact that we moved the pews forward and moved the baptistry behind the pulpit. That was a great thing in the life of the church. When anyone pastors First Baptist Church, there's a large area of visitation to hospitals. I want to tell you about one time that I remember well. I visited in the Methodist Hospital in Louisville. The hospital was new in that day. They tell me it no longer exists there. But anyway, the clergy parking was right at the front door. I went in and made my visit. I came out and there was Brother Devine, the former pastor of First Baptist Church. We were standing there talking, and the lady from the office came to the front door and said, "Brother Cook, you have a call." Well, how in the world did she know Brother Cook? I went in and found out that we had another member in the Methodist Hospital. So I made that visit, and I was leaving. I said, "Lady, how in the world did you know Brother Cook?" She said, "Well, my sister lives down at Radcliffe, and she's a member of your former church, and I've heard you preach more than once, so we never know." Well, there was Thelma Mae Stone, there was Gus Kalis, there was Doyle Eddings, there was Clarence Tudor. Talking about working. One night I went up to the church. Oh, it was cold. I thought I'd check the heat. And opened the door, I knew there was something wrong. There was a smell. I went out in the furnace room, and the pump that pumped up the hot water to the radiators was busted. Marvin Dossett, Woodrow Gamlin, the Building Grounds Committee came in and changed the pump from the air conditioning to the heat, and we had heat that morning. They worked all night. I never did really think about it, never did want to be 90, never thought it would ever be 90. Raymond Stewart worked at IGA, and I'd see him often. And one day, I went in and they had this display of watermelons. And I said to Raymond, "Raymond, I sure would like to eat the heart out of that watermelon." He said, "Throw it, and I'll join you." I said, "Raymond, I'm not going to throw a watermelon on the floor." He said, "I'll clean it up. I'll have it cleaned up. Go ahead." But I didn't. But if we'd do it again, I'd throw it. Another time, Raymond Stewart and someone else that worked insisted that I go out to number 1 checkout lane. And I noticed a little girl acted awful funny, and she acted like she was scared to death. And come to find out, Raymond Stewart had told her that there's a preacher in the store, and every time he comes, he steals something. And when he checks out, honey, you check the bottom of the cart, you check everything, or he will steal something. And then he came up and told the girl who I was, and it tickled him to death. So I want to thank you for the privilege of speaking to you again, and especially Dorothy and I want to thank you for all our friends at First Church and churches throughout the county. And we're so glad when people come and say, if we can help you, just call us. God bless you this day. May I leave this with you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths. Amen.